When we take a look at the latest job numbers about what's happening, those government reports, well over 20 million people quit their jobs in the second half of 2021. So I guess, Julia, the big question is why this big quit?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, basically, when you look at what's happened to the workforce, the trend is for people to basically say, hey, I'm questioning what I'm doing here on a day to day basis. They're under more stress than ever before. They've got issues, personal issues they need to balance, stress on the job, and their fellow employees, their teammates are quitting, which drives work up for them. So it's just a really hard time to be in the workforce. And there's this whole movement about employees basically saying, do I really need this? Rise of the gig economy, more people taking on entrepreneurial things, finding remote jobs that they can do and have more flexibility from home. So all sorts of drivers basically driving employees to go back to home and quit their jobs.
All right, and Christine, I wonder if this really creates a fertile ground for people to get better benefits and better working conditions, a sort of leverage right now.
Well, absolutely. I think there's never been a time, I open up the newspaper every morning and learn something new, even for me, about different things that companies are doing. So I think it's a very interesting time to be an employee, to have some information about what other employers are offering. We do see, differences in what employees are looking for. Some absolutely are looking for better pay, right? And that's going to drive their decision. But there are others that are looking at work-life balance, for instance, or the value of healthcare benefits. And I think employees are getting smarter about what questions to ask when they go into those job interviews.
When we take a look at some of the data that's in just one data point being LinkedIn, Julia, you take a look at who's leaving their jobs. You've got millions of baby boomers deciding, to retire early, but you also have those Gen Z workers, people in their early 20s, a lot of them women, who are also part of this quit rate.
Definitely. But the drivers behind each of the generations is a little bit different. I think for, the baby boomers who are retiring early, a big part of that is that companies aren't really set up to have more flexible exit options, decreasing the number of days people work, shifting some of those more experienced leaders and organizations to be consultants, be coaches, not really be driving the day to day, but still have a role that may be reduced from a time perspective, 1, 2, 3 days a week, for instance. On the flip side, Gen Z, a lot of what you're seeing is though many of those people who've been entering the workforce in the last 2 years, a lot of the jobs they've been doing remotely. They don't have an affinity to their teams. They haven't been able to be in person, build some of those relationships, become friends with teammates, experience the coaching and the mentorship that happens when you're in person. And that's driving, less attachment to organizations and people leaving in favor, again, of going to, gig work, more entrepreneurial work, and picking up, more short-term assignment type opportunities.